Have you ever wondered why certain women seem to carry an unexplainable peace in chaos? A quiet strength that draws others toward hope. There's something different about them, something that whispers of divine purpose, even in the simplest moments. You've watched them navigate storms with grace you can't quite understand. You've seen them find light in places where others see only shadows. And deep in your heart, you've wondered if maybe, just maybe, you carry that same sacred calling. What if the very struggles that have shaped you, the battles that have broken you open, the seasons that have taught you to wait in silence, what if all of it has been preparing you for something greater? You thought those moments of isolation meant you were forgotten. But maybe solitude wasn't abandonment. Maybe it was appointment. Tonight, as you sit in the quiet space between your questions and your faith, something stirs within you. A recognition, a knowing that reaches deeper than your doubts. Because the woman chosen by God doesn't always recognize herself in the mirror of her own becoming. She sees her flaws, her fears, her moments of stumbling faith. But heaven sees something entirely different. Heaven sees a heart being refined, a spirit being strengthened, a purpose being awakened one gentle breath at a time. You've felt it, haven't you? That pull toward something you can't quite name. Those moments when your soul feels too big for your circumstances, when your heart aches not just for your own healing but for the healing of others. When you find yourself praying for people you've never met, crying tears that feel like intercession, carrying burdens that aren't technically yours to bear. And you've wondered if this sensitivity is a gift or a burden, if this depth of feeling makes you weak or if it's actually where your strength has been hiding all along. The nights have been long, haven't they? Those hours when sleep feels elusive and your mind replays every moment, every choice, every word you wish you could take back or speak with more courage. You've questioned whether your prayers are being heard, whether your faithfulness matters in a world that seems to reward everything except quiet devotion. You've watched others receive what you've been waiting for, and you've wrestled with feelings that shame whispers you shouldn't have. But what if those very wrestlings have been sacred? What if every night you chose faith over bitterness, hope over cynicism, love over self-protection, you were actually being shaped for something extraordinary? Would you still trust divine timing if it meant waiting longer than you hoped? If it meant watching others step into blessings while you remain in seasons of preparation? Because the woman chosen by God learns to find her worth not in what she receives, but in what she becomes through the receiving and the waiting alike. She discovers that her identity isn't found in her circumstances, but in the unchanging love that holds her through every changing season. Sometimes the very thing that feels like delay is actually divine orchestration. Sometimes what looks like silence is the sound of heaven arranging pieces you cannot see. The closed doors, the redirected paths, the relationships that ended just when you thought they were beginning. Maybe none of it was rejection. Maybe all of it was protection. Maybe every no was guarding space for a yes so beautiful it required this exact preparation, this specific timing, this particular version of who you're becoming. Maybe that's why it's been taking so long, because heaven's been building your heart first, teaching you to find peace in uncertainty, training you to trust when you cannot trace, developing in you a kind of faith that doesn't need constant confirmation because it's learned to rest in the character of the one who called you. The woman chosen by God doesn't need to understand every detail of the plan. She just needs to trust the planner. And in those quiet moments, when the world grows still and your heart opens like morning light, you begin to sense it. The calling that has been whispering your name through every season of becoming. Not a calling to perform or prove or earn your place, but a calling to simply be who you were created to be, to let your gentleness be strength, to let your tears be prayers, to let your waiting be worship, to let your very existence be a testament to the goodness of the one who formed you with such tender intention. Our minds crave quick answers, immediate resolution, clear direction that leaves no room for doubt. But faith teaches us to sit with questions until peace becomes the answer, until we learn that not all mysteries are meant to be solved, but held. Not all purposes are meant to be understood, but trusted. The woman chosen by God learns to be comfortable in the space between asking and receiving, between hoping and knowing, between what is and what is becoming. Maybe it was never about finding the right circumstances, but becoming the one who could carry whatever circumstances came. Maybe it was never about avoiding pain, but learning to let pain become a pathway to deeper compassion. Maybe it was never about having all the answers, but becoming someone others could sit with in their questions. The chosen woman discovers that her greatest ministry often happens not when she's strong, but when she's honest about her weakness. Not when she has it all figured out, but when she's willing to walk alongside others in their figuring out. And slowly, like dawn breaking over mountains you didn't know you'd been climbing, you begin to see it. The way your story has been unfolding not randomly, but purposefully. The way your struggles have developed muscles you didn't know you needed. The way your waiting has deepened roots that will one day anchor others. The way your questions have led you to truths that will one day guide hearts home. One day, you'll look back and realize the silence wasn't empty. It was the sound of your roots growing deeper, your faith growing stronger, your heart growing wider. You'll understand that every season of preparation was actually a season of transformation, and what felt like being overlooked was actually being carefully, lovingly prepared for something sacred beyond your current comprehension. The signs have always been there, haven't they? Woven into the fabric of your ordinary days like golden threads you almost missed. That moment when you chose forgiveness over bitterness, even when your heart was screaming for justice. The way you found yourself speaking words of life into situations that felt hopeless. The inexplicable peace that settled over you in moments when chaos should have consumed you completely. You thought these were just personality traits, quirks of character, maybe even weaknesses that made you too sensitive for this hardened world. But what if they were actually evidence of something far more sacred? What if the very qualities that sometimes make you feel different, isolated or misunderstood, are actually the fingerprints of divine selection on your soul? The first sign reveals itself in your response to spiritual warfare. While others crumble under the weight of unexplained attacks, you find yourself standing, not because you're stronger, but because something within you refuses to bow. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way opposition seems to intensify just before breakthrough. The way challenges arrive in clusters, testing every foundation you thought was secure. But instead of destroying you, these battles have been forging you. You pray differently now. Your intercession carries weight that surprises even you. When you speak life over situations, things shift. When you declare peace over chaos, stillness follows. You've stopped calling it coincidence because the pattern is too consistent, too purposeful. Your prayers don't just reach heaven, they move heaven. And heaven responds not because of your perfection, but because of your position as one set apart for such sacred work. If this message found you in your season of questioning, take it as confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's assignment. Your waiting isn't wasted time, it's sacred preparation. Write, "I receive this" in the comments if your heart recognizes these signs. And remember, beloved, you were chosen before you even knew to choose Him back.